Hey, how's it going?
Welcome back to another video with Louie and I. Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Hey, how's it going? So today we're gonna hear the story of how Shaq spent $1 million in 30 minutes. A bit of background, Shaq signed an endorsement deal pre-NBA for $1 million. Without knowing it, he didn't account for agent fees, taxes, all that good stuff, and he ended up spending his $1 million before he knew it.
Without knowing it, he didn't know, he did not know, he didn't know, he did not know.
Before we get started, let's actually see what Shaq's net worth is to see what $1 million actually means to the guy. 400 million bucks, 60 million annual salary. That's great. So 1 million is 0.25% of his actual net worth. You gotta keep in mind though, at the time of the story itself, $1 million was all of Shaq's money. Pre-NBA, he had just signed an endorsement deal. He was spending 100% of his net worth. That's why it provides some great insight into his thinking before and after. Now that he's worth $400 million, regardless of his earnings, he clearly made some good decisions financially. Okay, so Shaq's NBA salary was under $300 million and $200 million endorsement deals, so $500 million there alone. And it says that he actually earns more in retirement today than he did while playing in the NBA. That can make sense if you've deployed your capital well and your money is making you more money. The best part, he spent his first $1 million in 30 minutes. That's the story we're gonna hear now.
So Shaq, we're not even gonna waste any time. Let's get right into it. Everybody take your seats. Now it's time to learn. It's time to learn. Pads out.
Love that. It's time to learn. It's time to learn. Pads out. You know what? I'll be right back myself. I got myself a notepad and a pen. Let's learn.
So, Magic Johnson, the great Magic Johnson, gave you some advice when you was 18 years old about financial literacy. You know, we always hear about 70% of NBA players going broke, a lot of the NFL players going broke, rappers, entertainers, but you're somebody who obviously made a lot of money while you...
One of the best ways to learn is from others' mistakes. Such stats of majority of athletes going broke should scare you. Making sure you're financially literate to make smart decisions is important.
You were playing, but you probably double, quadruple, tripled your net worth after you're playing. It's a success story. So what are some of the jewels that he gave you when you was a young man that you still carry with you to this day?
Well, at first, before I met Magic Johnson, I spent $1 million in one day.
Hey, that's why we're here, to hear that story.
So I knew nothing about financial literacy. My agent calls me and said, hey.
That's the other thing a lot of people forget. For these athletes, these entertainers, all their focus, their energy goes towards their craft itself in order to make it to positions like the NBA itself. What's lacking a lot of the time is a financial education. Given that not a lot of them are financially literate is why you hear those scary stats that 70% of NBA players end up broke.
Hey, I got a check for $1 million. So shit, you know me.
The check for $1 million does not mean $1 million. Don't forget about taxes, agent fees, all those small fees that add up.
I already had that black Mercedes lined up. So I said, I'm about to go get the Mercedes with the wheels, the pull-out deck. So it costs $150. So when I get back to the crib, my dad said, where's mine at? So in my mind, I'm like, $1 million minus $150. Shit, I got $850 left.
He does not have $850 yet. It's $1 million minus taxes, agent fees, then of course minus $150.
Right? So I go buy him one, I go buy my mother one. You know, I get some ice, I get some earrings.
I don't get people's obsession with jewelry. I don't know, I'm just not a fan. It's not my thing. To each their own. However, it's such a waste of money.
To get a couple of suits. So I get a call from the bank manager. He says, you spend $1 million. And I was like, no, I didn't. So then when I'm looking at the paperwork, I see FICA.
Good old Uncle Sam, you can't forget about him.
IRS, CRA, you gotta make sure you pay your tax bill first thing.
Now I get mad. I'm like, hey, I don't know no motherfucking FICA. He took 200,000. No, I don't. So I had no idea what FICA and income, sales tax, state tax. I had no idea what that was. So then I said, okay, I don't want to be like the rest of these NBA players. I got to teach.
That's great. Acknowledging the fact that, hey, this is a mistake I made, and I don't want to turn out like all these individuals who ended up with no money after all that hard work.
Teach myself. Because this is something that we don't know. Like, my family work paycheck to paycheck.
That's another thing. You can't really judge Shaq for these bad spending habits because you don't know his situation growing up.
We never had no money, but I had to get that Benz. I had to get my mom a Benz. Like, I just had to get that first.
It was not really his fault that he was not financially literate at that point. However, it's in his control to become financially literate after, which clearly he did, hence why $400 million.
After I spent that $1 million in a day, I sort of, educated myself. Yeah. And it's okay not to know nothing. So if you don't know nothing, you just ask questions.
Very true. That's the best way to learn. Ask questions, be curious, ask away.
Yeah. So everybody I saw that was successful, how you do that? How you do that? How you do that? And the first book I bought was The Dummy's Guide to Starting Your Own Business. Everybody should get that book because they give you all the answers on how to start a business, how to be successful, what to look for. So after that, I became a little more literate, but I still didn't know a lot. Then when I went to LA, Magic was having a function. He got some praise. I got a little bit more praise. I thought I was the man. And he said, it's all right to be famous, but at some point you want to start owning things.
Very, very true. Ownership is the way to generational wealth.
I didn't know what that meant. Yeah. So I went back to the book, and I'm looking up sole proprietorship, joint venture, all this stuff, and I'm devising my plan.
Yeah. That's a valuable lesson.
He's not just taking that knowledge for granted. He's going back and further educating himself on these discussions he's having after asking questions to people who know more than he does. No one should feel stupid asking questions because it's impossible for one person to know everything.
Always make that quote that formal education can make you a fortune, but self-education can make you a fortune. And so I'm glad that you said that part. One of the things that I love that you said is that you invest in things that change people's lives. And so one of those things was Google in 2004, before they IPO'd.
Talk about an amazing investment. Pre-IPO Google? That's crazy.
Can you talk about how you got introduced to Google and the CEOs or the company itself?
Believe it or not, that was by accident.
Wow.
I'm at the Four Seasons, sitting, and some white guys and their kids recognize me. So I'm just being nice, signing autographs, taking pictures. And the gentleman says, hey man, I respect you, I like what you do in the community. I want to tell you about this company, Google. I didn't know what he was talking about. So another good thing is it's always important to have somebody smarter than you that works for you.
Yeah.
Very true. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to surround yourself with people who can teach you things and you can help teach them as well.
That's a gem.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're the smartest guy in the room, there's a problem.
True. There you go.
It's the wrong room.
So he talking all
I love the background. It's the wrong room.
this white boy stuff. I don't know what he's talking about. But I was like, you know what? I got some white boys that understand your language. It sounds good what you're saying, search engine, future, all that sound good, but nah, I'm not doing that.
You don't want to invest in anything you don't really understand. And what he's doing is very smart. Because he didn't understand what Google, the company, was trying to achieve, he surrounded himself with enough smart people who he could delegate that task of figuring out if it's a credible company or not to help him make a good financial decision, investing in Google pre-IPO.
Like I always go to these tech conferences because I like to hear smart people talk. Like some people talk too much. And I like the people that talk too much because I'm stealing all their shit.
That's great.
So Jeff Bezos, somebody asked Jeff Bezos, how you get so rich? And he said, I invest in things that change people's lives. Shit. So the first thing I did, I was coming out of the Orlando arena, and this lady was chewing me a new one.
It's great that he is not only just listening to people's advice and absorbing all that financial knowledge, but he's also taking action and implementing it into his financial investments.
You MFers charging these babies $300 for shoes, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, ma'am, I don't make the price, I apologize. And I had some money in my pocket. I was like, here you go, baby, go buy your son Jordans, whatever he want. She smacked the money out of my hand. So at that point, I went home and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I don't feel right charging the kids that want to be us $100, $200 for shoes. I already had a relationship with Walmart. I had another line. So I met with the CEO of Walmart. I said, look.
See, Walmart shoes are a lower price, higher quantity business model compared to Jordans, which is a higher price, lower quantity business model.
I want to be the #1 shoe seller of Walmart. So we did a deal that was in '95, and ever since '95, I've sold over 400 million pair.
Wow, that's incredible. He's utilizing the information he's learned. He's implementing it here, very simply. I don't agree with the prices of shoes. I want to create a low-cost shoes. I'll sell a higher volume, a partnership that makes perfect sense with Walmart. You got to give it up to the guy. Great. Good job, Shaq. And again, that aligns with Walmart's business model of selling a higher quantity of goods at a lower price point.
400 million. Clap it up for that.
Clap it up for that.
And mine's are $29.95, $19.95. But see, the secret is, I know us. It's not that we don't want to wear $20 shoes. We don't want to wear shoes that look like they cost $20.
To be fair, I'm sure the Jordans that are selling at $300, the actual cost to produce is closer to $20 than it is to $300. It's just a much higher profit margin for those shoes.
I know how it go. So again, I hired some designers. Shit, if the Adidas got 3 stripes, my shit gonna have 4. And then with me being who I am, some kids still get picked on when they go to school, but there's still a little bit of respect behind my name.
He's making a lot of money with this partnership with Walmart for his line of shoes, but at the same time, he's making a positive impact with his investment. He's making investments in things that change people's lives, which allows him to feel good about what he's doing.
People don't fully understand that, and I want to dive even deeper because as a young person, you have foresight. I believe you turned down a $7 million extension from Reebok to start your own company. So speak about that as far as the power of betting in itself, because there's people out here who might have a $200,000 job that they are afraid to leave. So you turned down a $7 million extension from Reebok, which was 20 years ago.
$7 million 20 years ago is a lot more than it is now. Can't forget about good old inflation.
And bet on yourself, and like you said, it ended up working out real big for you.
I took a chance. What I realized from the previous business.
It's all about taking chances, especially when you're younger, where you don't have as much to lose. You gotta take that chance.
Business that I wasn't gonna outsell Michael Jordan, but people know who I was, right? Because Michael used to kill me in Foot Locker. Like, they wouldn't even looking at my shit, which is cool. I understand. That's Mike. I ain't tripping. So I said, if I go somewhere where nobody's at, it's all mine, right? And then I said, you know what? I know it's a lot of kids out there that want to have something respectable on their feet, a respectable name, something that look good, and it's going to work. And it's the right thing to do.
See, he feels good about his investment. It's a great investment. It makes him plenty of money. He's making a positive impact, and he feels good.
Again, I didn't feel right charging little kids $100, $200 for shoes. First year, I felt good about it, but then after, reality kicked in, I was like, this ain't right. This ain't right. So I invested in something that's going to change people's lives, and I just went for it.
Overall, this is a great story from Shaq. His intent is not to boast, hey, I had $1 million to spend in 30 minutes. His intent is to show everyone else, all the youth, hey, I was put in a position where I was quite fortunate. I was not financially literate, hence why I blew all my money. However, I learned from that, I took action, and I financially educated myself. I put it upon myself to get financially educated to allow me to make better financial decisions in the future. He has a $400 million net worth now. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with him making this mistake and financially educating himself to the point where he was able to make smarter decisions. The other key thing he mentioned was asking questions. Be curious, ask away. People are always willing to help. And you do the same thing. You ask questions, you learn something, you pass it down. When others ask you, you help them out as well. Hope you enjoyed the video.
What's his voice?
I don't know, what should I keep his voice as?
I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you next time on Louie's channel.